Picture this. You're at a casual get-together, nothing dramatic. Music in the background, people laughing. You catch her looking at you from across the room, and the moment your eyes meet, she quickly looks away, starts talking to her friend, laughs a little too loud, your heart sinks. Okay, you think, she's definitely not interested. But what if I told you, you just missed one of the clearest signs she might actually want intimacy with you? I've seen this happen so many times. Good men misreading quiet signals because they're waiting for something obvious, something loud, something direct, and when they don't get it, they pull back. That confusion, it's exhausting, right? Trying to decode mixed signals, wondering if you imagined it, telling yourself not to get your hopes up. So let me say this clearly. Most women don't announce desire. They demonstrate it. And if you only listen to words, you'll miss what her behavior is telling you. Today we're flipping the script. We're not going to talk about what women say. We're decoding what women do. I'm going to show you 5 subtle gestures that often reveal when a woman wants closeness, connection, even intimacy, but is trying to stay composed. By the end of this, you won't feel confused anymore. You'll feel grounded, you'll see patterns, and most importantly, you'll know how to respond without chasing, overthinking, or sabotaging the moment. Here's what we're unlocking today. The glance and dart, why she looks at you, then quickly looks away. The conversation bounce, how she keeps you talking without seeming obvious. The proximity game, her quiet need to be physically near you. The accidental touch, the body language signal most men ignore. The friend factor, what her friend's behavior reveals before she ever says a word. These aren't theories, they're patterns, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. Ready? Let's start with the one you've probably misread the most. Let me ask you something. Have you ever caught a woman looking at you, not once, but multiple times, and every single time she looks away quickly, and you immediately assume, she's uncomfortable, she's annoyed, she's not into me? Slow down. Let me tell you what's actually happening. Imagine this scenario. You're at work, or a cafe, or a mutual friend's birthday dinner. You feel eyes on you. You glance up. She's looking directly at you. The moment your eyes meet, she darts away. Maybe she adjusts her hair. Maybe she suddenly checks her phone. Maybe she pretends to focus intensely on something random. Here's the insight. If she wasn't interested, she wouldn't be looking repeatedly. Looking is curiosity. Looking repeatedly is attraction mixed with uncertainty. That quick glance away, that's emotional self-control. Women who feel desire often try to manage it, especially in public, especially early on, especially if they're unsure how you feel. She's not rejecting you. She's regulating herself. And here's where most men go wrong. They interpret the dart away as disinterest, so they withdraw energy. They avoid eye contact next time. They shut down. They tell themselves, I misread it, and the opportunity dies quietly. Instead, here's what confident behavior looks like. The next time it happens, hold eye contact for 1 calm second longer than usual. Not staring, not intense, just steady. Then give a small, knowing smile. That's it. No dramatic move, no overcorrection. You're signaling, I see you, and I'm not intimidated. If she's interested, one of 2 things will happen. She'll look back again, or her body language will soften. Shoulders relax, posture opens, maybe she lingers in your line of sight. That's your cue to initiate a light, low-pressure interaction. Not a grand move, just presence. Because here's something powerful. When a woman looks away quickly, she's often hoping you don't disappear. She's testing emotional safety, not playing games. So let me ask you, if she's already looking at you when you're not looking at her, what does it mean when she starts finding reasons to talk to you? That's where it gets interesting. Let's talk about the conversation bounce. 2. The conversation bounce, how she secretly keeps your chat alive. Let's build on something. You're talking to her. It's casual, nothing dramatic. You make a comment. She responds. Normal. But then something subtle happens. Instead of letting the conversation die naturally, she tosses it back to you. You say, yeah, I've been going to the gym more lately. She doesn't just say, oh, nice. She says, oh, really? What made you start? That right there, that's the bounce. Here's another scenario. You're texting. You give a short answer. She could easily leave it there, but she adds something. A follow-up, a teasing remark, an emoji, a question that keeps you engaged. Why does this matter? Because attention is investment. When a woman wants intimacy, emotional or physical, she doesn't let connection fade easily. She extends it. She stretches it. She gives it momentum. Now here's where men often miss it. They assume, she's just being polite. No, politeness closes conversations gently. Interest keeps them alive. There's a big difference. Politeness sounds like, yeah, that's cool. Okay, nice. Interest sounds like, wait, how did that happen? Stop, you're kidding. So, what did you do next? She's leaning in verbally, and here's the deeper insight. Women who are attracted often test emotional flow first. Before intimacy, there's connection. Before connection, there's comfort. The conversation bounce is her way of asking, can we keep this rhythm going? Now let's talk about how you should respond. This is critical. Do not overperform. Do not suddenly monologue. And please don't turn it into an interview. When she bounces the conversation back to you, match her energy. Don't overwhelm it. If she asks a question, answer it fully but briefly. Then gently bounce it back. Example. She says, what made you start going to the gym? You say, honestly, I wanted to challenge myself again. I felt too comfortable. What about you? What's something you've been working on lately? See that? You're not chasing, you're co-creating. Here's the mindset shift I want you to adopt. If she keeps the conversation alive, she wants the connection alive. Your job is not to force it forward. Your job is to keep it steady, calm, grounded, reciprocal. Because when a woman keeps bouncing conversation back to you, she's not just talking, she's assessing emotional chemistry. And if that chemistry feels good, she'll want to increase proximity. Which brings me to something subtle and very powerful. If she could talk to anyone in the room, why does she keep ending up near you? Let's talk about the proximity game. 3. The proximity game. Her unconscious need to be near you. Now let's talk about something men feel, but rarely trust. You're at a group event. She could sit anywhere. Plenty of space, plenty of options. But somehow, she ends up next to you. Not directly on you, not obvious, just close. Close enough that your shoulders almost touch. Close enough that her knee brushes yours under the table. Close enough that if you leaned slightly, your arms would meet. Coincidence? Usually not. Here's what's happening. When a woman is drawn to a man, her body often moves before her mind admits it. Proximity is comfort. Proximity is curiosity. Proximity is desire testing the waters. She's subconsciously asking herself, how does it feel to be near him? And she's also asking something else. Does he feel calm or does he get awkward? Now let me give you a gentle wake-up call. This is where a lot of men sabotage themselves. They either freeze and stiffen like they're being evaluated, or overreact and invade her space back immediately. Both kill the tension. If she sits close and you suddenly lean aggressively closer, touch too fast, or act overly excited, she pulls back. If she sits close and you tense up, shift away, or act like you didn't notice, she questions the chemistry. Here's the balanced move. Do nothing dramatic. Relax your posture. Keep your body language open. Continue the conversation normally. If there's light contact, a knee brush, a shoulder bump, don't flinch. Just stay grounded. Your calmness tells her, I'm comfortable being close to you. And that's powerful, because intimacy doesn't start with touch. It starts with comfort in shared space. Now here's something important. Women don't move closer to men they feel unsafe around. They don't linger near men they're indifferent to. They don't unconsciously align their bodies toward men they're trying to avoid. Watch her feet, watch her torso, watch where she stands in a group. If her body keeps facing you, even when she's talking to others, that's attention anchored on you. And here's the mindset shift. Don't chase proximity. Let her choose it. If she moves closer, reward it with calm presence. Not pressure, not escalation, not performance. Presence. Because when she feels safe being near you, she'll naturally test the next level of closeness. And that next level? It's subtle, it's brief, and most men miss it completely. Let me ask you something. What happens when accidental touch doesn't feel accidental at all? That's where things get interesting. 4. The accidental touch. The #1 body language signal you're missing. Let's talk about something small, but powerful. You're laughing together. She lightly touches your arm. You're walking side by side. Her hand brushes yours and lingers half a second longer than necessary. You hand her something. Her fingers slide across yours, and she doesn't rush to pull away. Most men dismiss this. She's just friendly. It didn't mean anything. I'm probably imagining it. Slow down. Touch is intentional, especially early on. Women are generally more selective about physical contact than men assume. So when she initiates light, socially acceptable touch, that's not random. That's testing. Here's a relatable scenario. You're telling a story. She laughs and grabs your forearm, but instead of tapping and removing her hand immediately, she keeps it there for a beat. That beat? That's the signal. When a woman wants intimacy, she often escalates in layers: eye contact, conversation flow, proximity, then touch. And it's rarely dramatic. It's subtle, brief, measured. She's asking one silent question: how does he respond when I cross into his space? Now listen carefully. Your reaction matters more than the touch itself. If you jerk away, even slightly, she feels rejected. If you grab her back too fast or escalate immediately, she feels rushed. So what's the grounded move? Stay calm. If she touches your arm while laughing, keep talking naturally. Let the moment breathe. If your hands brush and she doesn't pull away instantly, don't panic. Maintain soft eye contact. Continue the interaction. You don't need to grab her hand. You don't need to comment on it. You don't need to prove anything. Your steadiness is what builds attraction. Here's the key mindset. Touch is her way of moving from emotional connection into physical awareness. She's not asking for a big move. She's seeing if you can handle closeness without losing composure. And let me make this practical. If she initiates light touch repeatedly, arm, shoulder, playful nudges, you can gently mirror it later. Emphasis on gently. For example, when you're laughing, you lightly touch her elbow for a second. Or when guiding her through a door, your hand rests softly at her back. Brief and respectful. If she maintains comfort and doesn't withdraw, that's green light energy. But if she pulls away or stiffens, you reset. No ego, no pressure. Intimacy grows where safety exists. And here's something life relatable. Pay attention to context. At work, she'll be more subtle. Around friends, she may act casual, but still find small excuses to connect physically. On a date, the signals are clearer, but still layered. Now think about this. If she's comfortable looking at you, talking to you, standing near you, and touching you lightly, what happens when her friends start watching you differently? That's when the story gets even more revealing. 5. The friend factor. What her friend's behavior reveals about her true feelings. Now this one, men overlook it all the time. You're interacting with her. Things feel good. There's eye contact. Conversation flows. Maybe even light touch. But suddenly, you notice something else. Her friends are watching, not in a hostile way, in a curious way. Let me paint the picture. You walk up to a group. She's there with two of her friends. The moment you start talking to her, the energy shifts slightly. One friend smiles knowingly. Another quietly excuses herself. They exchange a quick glance. That glance, it's communication. Here's the insight most men don't realize. If her friends know about you, that means she's been talking about you. Women rarely analyze men alone. They process attraction socially. So if her friends are suddenly interested in who you are, teasing her lightly when you approach, giving you space to talk, or watching your interaction with subtle approval, that's not random. That's pre-awareness. Now here's a real-life scenario. You make her laugh. Her friend looks at her and says, "Oh," or they suddenly need drinks and disappear. Or one of them asks you questions about yourself while smiling like she's evaluating you. That's screening. Not in a competitive way, in a protective way. Her friends are checking, is he calm? Is he respectful? Is he confident without being arrogant? And here's the key. If her friends are relaxed around you, she's relaxed about you. If her friends are warm towards you, she likely feels safe with you. Now let me give you practical guidance. Do not ignore the friends. And please don't try to isolate her aggressively from them. That's a common mistake. Instead, acknowledge the group briefly. Be polite, engage lightly, then shift your focus back to her naturally. When you show social intelligence, not just attraction, her comfort increases. And when her comfort increases, intimacy becomes easier. Here's something subtle but powerful. If her friends suddenly start leaving you two alone more often, that's not coincidence, that's approval. And when approval is present, resistance drops, because now she doesn't feel alone in her attraction. She feels supported in it. So let me ask you this. If her eyes show curiosity, her conversation shows investment, her proximity shows comfort, her touch shows openness, and her friends show awareness. At what point do you stop doubting the signs? Let's close this in a way that challenges you, calmly, honestly, and powerfully. I'm going to say something that might challenge you a little. If you're constantly confused about whether a woman is interested, it's often because you're waiting for her to remove all the risk for you. Read that again. Attraction is rarely announced. It's revealed in layers, in glances, in proximity, in light touch, in the way her friends subtly approve. But here's the controversial truth. A woman who wants intimacy will move toward you. But she won't drag you across the finish line. She'll open the door. You still have to walk through it. And that doesn't mean being aggressive. It means being grounded, observant, calm enough to notice the pattern instead of obsessing over one moment. You have more power here than you think, not power to control her, power to regulate yourself, to stay steady when she tests closeness, to respond without rushing, to lead without forcing. If you've experienced any of these gestures, like the glance, the bounce, the proximity, the accidental touch, the friend approval, tell me in the comments. What did you notice? Did you misread it at the time? Did you act, or did you pull back? I read these, and I respond. Because this isn't about guessing games, it's about awareness. And here's something I want you to remember. When you stop chasing signals and start recognizing patterns, confidence stops being an act. It becomes your natural state. Now go observe differently and let her come to you.